Rideshare Rodeo eases pains, sharing wisdom bit by bit, turning hustle into wit. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. He's the cowboy of the rides, navigating daily tides. With his guidance we feel free, rolling on eternally. Through each podcast, night and day, Steve lights up the winding way. Gigs feel less like work alone, 'cause his tips have surely shown. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. He's the cowboy of the rides, navigating daily tides. With his guidance we feel free, rolling on eternally. Through each podcast, night and day, Steve lights up the winding way. Gigs feel less like work alone, 'cause his tips have surely shown. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo Podcast. Tonight we have here, let me turn this down a little bit. We have Uber's autonomous vehicle strategy, something that we've been talking about, but they kind of finally just laid it out in an interview with Wired. The robotaxiing lobbying effort. No bail for Uber drivers who stabbed their passengers at the airport. And if we have time, if not, we'll do it Thursday. Why sharing economy, gig economy drivers are disengaging, and how platform design can win them back. That's from physics.org, by the way. And then the latest gig economy hustle, restaurant line sitting, right on the other side.
Well, midnight headlight, blinding on a rain night, Steve laid up ahead, slowing down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, ready for the rhythm with the song on the radio.
Welcome audio podcast, welcome YouTube, welcome LinkedIn, and welcome Twitter X. How you guys all doing? If you're on X or if you're on LinkedIn, you have to leave the comments out of the live box. I won't see them from the live box. I've done all the discussing I can do with the company. And then on X, you can type them in, but some people tell me that it's not working, but you just double touch the screen. There should be a text box that comes up. Type in there. I should see it on this end. And then YouTube, and you guys know how to comment and whatnot. But welcome, guys, to the what is this, episode number 596, far away from 600. Yeah, so we got some things we're going to talk about this week, as always. And I had a safety bill on here too, but I'm not sure I want to bring that up because what happened here in Colorado, I wanted to discuss a little more at length. So probably do that with Sean, but when doing my research, I went down a rabbit hole about something that began in May in Virginia, and we definitely need to talk about that. But we got enough content here. We're going to start off with a well, first of all, let me say this. I see that somebody, Sue said, love the new scenery. So for the audio podcast, obviously it's the backdrop that they're seeing me on. It's a, I told AI to create a futuristic podcast recording studio with a shag 70s feel. So if you guys are on the audio podcast, just try and imagine that if you can. I've got a couple other ones too I've been playing with, but these are real. This is my studio for the next 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. My son's girlfriend comes into town, and I've moved my studio into this room, which is hotter than the other room. I'm gonna have to figure something out in here. But I will. This is it. I still have a little more work to do because I'm sitting against like the wall. I can't move it all, but I've got all the equipment in here and set up. That's why I was a little late today. But while we're gonna start off here, we're gonna run down little. Let's see. Should we start off with the bikes? No, I'll come back to the. You know what? I'm gonna move that down to here. Here's what I want to do. Come here. Well, I'll come back to that one because I do want to talk about these. Well, no, I'll just play it in order. We'll get back to the Lime scooter if we have time. So these are just some fails, you guys. I'm going to put myself over to the side here. And for you guys on the audio podcast, if you don't hear anything correctly or whatever, I'll try and make sure I explain. These are all pretty quick. But some of them, we'll go through one at a time. So let's start with Scooter real quick. 8 seconds.
You crushed it. That king shit was on point, man. I fucking love kings. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's going to have to be fixed too. The lag in here.
You crushed it. That king shit was on point, man. I fucking love kings. Oh, yeah.
Let's see if the rest of these loaded in. The final touches will be put on. 90% of the work is done though for the transferring to this room for a while. Just cooling for me and a better signal. But here we go. Let's move on.
Move out of my way. Move out of my way. And where are your eyes at? Where are your eyes at? Where are your eyes at? You don't even have a name. Look at them. They're all coming at me. I'm not scared of you guys anymore. I'm not scared of you. The gang's stalking me. Look at this. Get out of my way. I'm not scared of you. All of you, get out of my way. Back up. Back up. Back up. Look at you. We got reinforcements coming. Back up. Bianca. And Milad, get out of my way. You're sitting there giving me that dumb fucking look. Get out of my way. Look, they're leaving you. They're leaving you. What, you gonna challenge me? Don't come at me like that. Don't come at me like that. Go with that guy. Look, they're leaving.
This guy made videos forever. And if you aren't aware, he stopped for a little bit. And he did a few other things. I know he did something with Scientology. I would probably love, but I still need to find it. I don't exactly know where that is. But then we move into, and I need to paint you a picture for this one. So you guys have seen the Walmart drone deliveries. We see them in these little tiny areas. And then when they try them in the bigger cities, it's just like everything else that we're dealing with, fail, 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 fail. So the drone delivery, the planes themselves, pretty big, can't carry much at all. And weight or size. So a chairman for Thornton here in Colorado wants to I call him the Thornton City dumbass. Because listen, he actually made a TikTok. I don't know what other platforms he did this on, but he made a TikTok about leave your comments if you think we should have drone delivery. Now, you guys need to understand the landscape of Colorado. From Denver to Boulder, which if you're in Denver and you're going to Boulder, you're going west northwest. It's not quite like a hard northwest, but you're going west northwest. They're about 30 miles apart. In between there is Broomfield, Louisville, Lafayette, Thornton, parts of Arvada, not Aurora, Arvada, and right at Wadsworth, right about halfway up to Boulder from Denver, is Wadsworth, a major thoroughfare, very slow to use, but it's a major thoroughfare. When you exit right off the highway that is from Denver to Boulder, right there is one of the larger small airports. So there's one in Boulder, a county airport. There's one or regional. There's one in Longmont. They're all over, but the one right there in Broomfield is one of the biggest. Cessna trainings, like people like you or me that might want to learn how to fly a plane or are flying small planes. So people that are really getting their I'm learning how to do this. Thornton backs right up to this airport. And I want you to hear what this lunatic says, because his comments are awesome. And I'm going to put the link to this. I know that many of you aren't on TikTok, but if you are, I'm going to put the link to this one in there, because I would love it if you guys I commented. I kind of followed some other comments though, because they were so good, because about half of the comments in this video said, yeah, we're down with it. Put them up, and we can't wait to shoot them down. Shoot them down was the number one answer in the comments. So let's hear what Thornton City dumbass Justin Martinez has to say.
Thornton, imagine getting your online orders delivered to your backyard by an actual drone in under an hour or even in minutes. I'm Thornton City Councilman Justin Martinez, and at tonight's meeting we'll be talking about major companies like Amazon and Walmart launching advanced drone delivery operations right here in Thornton. But wait, how does this actually work with local laws? Thornton cannot regulate the airspace above us. That's strictly for the FAA. We can limit where these drones can land and take off and set up delivery operations in the city. This future tech is knocking at our door, Thornton. Are you ready for drone delivery services, or do you have concerns? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it.
I see a couple comments from Christopher Taylor. Right after I get through these videos, I'll say hi to you. What's all is up in the YouTube world? But I see Christopher Taylor saying the DoorDash dots are taking. Oh wait, no, I had seen another one from him. Not sure. If you've been seeing the ads to try and stop Waymo, I've seen a ton of them. I've been a pardon to many of the conversations with lawmakers. It's getting way more serious. Waymo serious. It's way more serious than it was, man. But it really is. There's lawmakers who, again, I want to talk about transparency. They want to talk about illegals. All of a sudden, Waymo, because of its fast track bouncing around, is getting the crap kicked out of it in so many places. So what do you think about Captain Dumbass and his idea to put drone delivery? We already have flock surveillance. Some of you have it too. Some have it worse than others. Denver's one of the worst. And I have some flock stories I'll probably do as a little intro on a members only this week. We do one a week. But because you guys need to hear about this, even no matter where you live, you need to understand Like I have 3 examples of things you wouldn't have thought of that flock surveillance is doing, and it's nuts. But what do you think about Thornton County City dumbass? Hey, believe your comments, and all the comments were, and some of the comments weren't even related to the drones. Some of the people know this guy, and like, it says, well, maybe you don't, but in TikTok, if you list it, even the commenter, it says where they're from. There were a lot from Thornton who were like, didn't even address the drone issue. And they're like, would you just shut up? Every idea you have is bad. So, I mean, clearly I don't even know who this guy is, but clearly he's a useless tool. And going out, I don't know, his pitch just sounded annoying. It sounded like a first take. He sounded unsure of himself. And he's saying, put your comments and let me know what you think. Really? You just opened the door to not just troll, and it's not trolling, man. It's people don't want this crap. I'm surprised that you don't, all these politicians have access to, unless they've, or, councils and stuff, they can access things like records and stuff. Like, why are you putting out something and asking for comments when they're not going to be good? And you're still, whether it gets passed or not, this douchebag is still going to push for it. He's still going to say, let's do it anyway. So he doesn't care about your comments. But let's talk about a little Waymo before we get into this. We got about 2-3 minutes worth of Waymo stuff here, and then we will move into tonight.
It's been years now since robotaxis first hit the streets, and in that time we've seen several incidents where those driverless vehicles have gotten in the way of emergency responders.
ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Luz Pena spoke with San Francisco's mayor today about what the city is planning to do to try to tackle this problem, Luz.
Yes, Ann and Cameron, first responders are reporting delays in response times when autonomous vehicles don't move out of the way, and in some cases have even run out of battery power, making it harder to drive around them during an emergency call. 3 years ago, the California Public Utilities Commission allowed Waymo and Cruise self-driving vehicles to expand in San Francisco. Since then, hundreds of autonomous vehicles have become part of the fabric of the city, but also a challenge during some emergencies.
People need us in their most desperate time of need. So anytime we are blocked by any autonomous vehicle, that matters.
The San Francisco Fire Department has been documenting incidents for years.
We have 31 internal documents. That's a document written by one of our officers that is sent to the deputy chief of the department.
In 2023, a driverless cruise vehicle and a fire truck collided in San Francisco, sending one passenger to the hospital. During this 4th of July, multiple Waymos ran out of battery power. What do you do now when you are in the middle of trying to get to an emergency and there's a Waymo blocking you from doing so?
So one, if there's enough room, we try to go around. There has been reported instances where our fire engines are nose to nose with a Waymo. And what happens is the Waymo realizes that our lights and sirens are on, but stops.
Firefighters say Waymo vehicles also have QR codes. They scan to report when these vehicles are blocking them. Does that work? Do you guys actually scan the barcode and somebody moves the vehicle?
It does work at times, but other times it doesn't.
City Supervisor Connie Chan wants autonomous vehicle companies to face financial consequences, saying she wants to create a cost recovery fee for instances where an autonomous vehicle causes a false emergency report or impedes emergency response. San Francisco's
which I don't even know what this title means. San Francisco supervisor? What the hell's that? You got a mayor, you have all the normal roles. What is a supervisor? You have a city supervisor? Where was she during the pandemic when there was a poop map? For the only city in this country had a poop map and an app at one point, and then they went back to just the map. If you guys don't know about this, email me, because they took it down, but there's a college that put it back up to study on, and we can publicly get to it. But it's amazing. I mean, like it was where all the piles of shit are in the city. Like, this is okay. So you need a supervisor, and that's a thing. Why don't you pick up the shit? But this is these are some 3 very quick clips in a row. Obviously a few things here. Waymo doing its thing. First short. 2, Waymo getting ticketed for parking. And 3, the heat has gotten to some people and they've had enough of the Waymos. So first, I want you to see this. There's obviously there's an emergency vehicle coming through. You can't fully see it, but you'll see it as it ends. I want you to notice that where the Waymo is, when the passengers notice this, is where it should have stayed. Instead, let's see what it does.
Does it hear the ambulance? Does it listen?
Oh my God, it does. It does.
No, 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 no,
Turned, like the fire truck was coming, everybody else had stopped. Even if they, when you're in those, like, okay, I've pulled over, and then some people are like, oh, I'm not in the best position, this isn't where I shouldn't be, but it's so close that you just stop and hope that the driver of the emergency vehicle notices, yeah, you didn't do that right, but I can get around you. This one just kind of went from where it was. Now let's see something we have not seen yet. This is really important.
Did Waymo just get a ticket? I think so. Oh no! Dang, Waymo just got his ticket.
It's not the solution to everything, but hey, man, you know what? They're able to get tickets now. It's something. Here's the last one. The clips are coming up really slow tonight, so hopefully there's no issue with the stream. But this is the heat has just been too much, and some people are just going to do what they're going to do to Waymos, and I'm guessing it's going to be more. Congrats to this guy. Kudos.
Well, traffic came to a stop at the busy intersection of Sunset and Edgemont in East Hollywood due to a man vandalizing a Waymo. Take a look at this. Police say they arrived to find a shirtless man on top of a Waymo in the middle of the intersection. This is video posted to the Citizen app. The man was seen on the crushed windshield holding a bent windshield wiper while screaming at the sensor on the top of the Waymo. Traffic had to come to a full stop as the Waymo was stopped right in the middle of the street. It's still unclear if anyone was in the Waymo when that destruction started. Officers arrived on the scene and arrested that man for vandalism.
I mean, he's not going to go down as a martyr, but he did earn some street credit with me, man. He got the Waymo windshield, which actually has sensors in it too. So that's got to be like a good few $1,000s. And he killed the LiDAR. That's 80 grand. This guy probably did upward of $85,000 worth of damage. So kudos, man. I do not encourage any of you to do it. I'm just giving this guy some accolades because hell, we're all thinking it. He just did it. And he also didn't have a shirt on. So no. At the same time, all of this is happening because all of these videos were in the last 3 days, seen even more. But in the same time as that, I want to show you something. This is the last thing I'm going to show you. This is a Waymo commercial. It's a Waymo commercial for 15 seconds. And I don't even know what the hell they're telling us. Okay. So it shows the old Waymo the new Waymo, the one that we have here mapping already. And it says, welcome this. It says soon picking up passengers. Look, we don't need you to be on this second model yet, picking up passengers. The first model hasn't worked in any single city there is. You've been at it for 9 years or for 10 years now, or 9 years in Arizona in the Tempe area. And it was 2018 when the remote driver got all that legal stuff and we heard the first big legal claims. But almost 10 years you've been public in some cities. You still don't have a working product. You have a recall every 60 to 90 days of at least huge numbers of them. But as of recently, it's been full fleet, which you're making more cars. So as I've always said, they don't work. We're putting more of them out there. The more cities they go into, the better. If you guys missed if you missed the podcast last week, just in a nutshell, it wasn't what we were talking about, but I do want to say this. So I had Richard from Atlanta on. Richard has been doing gig work for a long time, and he still does a lot of rideshare. And we weren't talking about rideshare, but he pointed out that the novelty of rideshare in Atlanta is gone. When it first got there about a year ago, people were like, I want to take a Waymo. I want to take a Waymo. And now he still does rideshare. He's like, people now are selecting, because you couldn't guarantee you would get one, but they're now selecting, do not send me a Waymo. And if they see they get one, they're canceling and asking for another car for a person. So the novelty is wore off. And here's why. Each city's different. So in Atlanta, they're not allowed on the highways. They've been giving routes they can use. There's different standards on them. And he said that almost immediately after a first, maybe a second trip in a Waymo, passengers were instantly realizing, dude, I'm going 35 minutes away from my house. I don't have 2 hours and 15 minutes to get there in this stupid Waymo. And I forgot to bring my 2 bottles of piss to pour on the floor when I got out. I would never do that. Wait, would I never do that, or would I never forget to bring them? Well, tomato, right? Let me jump over to the chat here. Let me see what you guys got going on. And I'll turn this. Hey, thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you doing that. And I'm going to say hi to everybody, but I also see Torp in here, and I know Torp was I heard Torp asking about, because I'd gifted some memberships in his live, and I think he was wondering, like, what's the purpose of gifting? Because most people don't resubscribe at the end of a gift. So here's the thing. They're actually never they're never not subscribed. They're never a member. Like if Lisa just gifted 10 memberships, you're not a member. You have a month free. It's not like you're putting down a credit card and after the free month you're being charged. You have a month free of full member access. Use it. Check out the channel. See if you like it. If you do, you can click into it and see that it's 99 cents a month. Join it if you want. We do on this one. I've tried to make it a little different than the last time I did it. And so far, so great with everybody is that we do once a week. I mean, I might do other things too, but the once a week, just members only live stream. And I'm not talking how other channels do it, where you do the live and then you make it members only or whatever. These are members only. Nobody else on YouTube has seen these. You have to be a channel member. So when they're given away, give it a check out, take a look, and I would recommend that. Look, I've always tried to give member benefits, but I would say that especially moving forward and stuff, I'm not trying to pop the, how does Sean set this up? Like that. I like it when Sean's here to set that up for me. Damn it. But anyway, I'll leave that up too. So what's up, Brian? What's up, Sean? What's up, Jared? Traveler. Brian Kern, Bub Sue, Tim, Oh, a lot of this is like missing from my chat. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna need to somehow boost the power of the internet. It seems to be kind of holding, but if I'm seeing this right, it also looks like it's a bit pixelated, and on my end, it's really flowing well. So again, I'll fix the internet before the next time, for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of hey, what's up, Monster Dash? How you doing? Like, maybe I'm better off just going to my phone and just seeing it from there. But again, the audio podcast. I do want to say that okay, that looks like a good amount of new members. So Torp, Big Three Dashing, Grubhub Gorilla, Arturo, what's up, dog? You need to know that you got it all. Colleen, Blue Demon Slayer, Olivia Johnston, D Matthews 33, and Alamo City Dan. Okay. Well, you guys are all members now. That's why I say it out loud like that. Oh shit. And then she did it again to make me say it. Audio podcast listeners, you're listening. And luckily I did a couple extra audio podcast drops. So I know that you guys can't really, go too far down on me, because we did a couple of hard hitting pieces. That thank you again, Lisa. This is Dashing Viper. So see, I hope there's out of the first batch I named and out of these that I'm seeing, there's a lot of people that watch this channel. And I know you get an alert in your emails, but like, I'll admit, I tell everybody publicly, my email for any of you to reach me is steve@ridesharerodeo.com. Real easy. However, what my YouTube account is tied to is a Gmail. And I don't all the time get in there and check it. So I don't know if somebody maybe gets me a membership or something. So I wish it did like an alert when you came into the app or into the browser or whatever. But I'm losing sight of my pattern here. Let me, everything's moving so slow is part of my problem, guys, is that I'm not able to see if there's any questions, or if you guys are just shooting the stuff, or let's see. I'm gonna have to hijack this live if he doesn't get here soon. Yeah, okay, Sean. Hopefully, dude, it's streaming a little clearer now. And everything's going okay, because again, this is my new setting for the next 2.5 weeks. And Sean knows we get really hot here in Colorado. He now knows where I live. Like an area, and kind of. And I'm kind of nearish, and it's that'd be a big area, the old airport. And we got these double pane windows, and it doesn't let sound out. But man, it's always the opposite of the season. Like right now, I can go outside, it's gonna be 20 degrees cooler. It's ridiculous. But we have window units, but they're very loud, or floor units. But this is my new setting for the next few weeks while Max's girl is visiting. So Tim is singing Men Without Hats. I see that. Missing Joe. Okay. Yeah, sorry about the slow start, guys. This is what happens when this is like the Waymo guy. Like, I'm not to that level yet. I've been way past this level, but I'm not to that level yet of that dude. But man, if you kept me in this room after this live for like another 3 hours, and a Waymo drove by and stopped, I don't know, maybe. And yes, they do come through my neighborhood. In fact, I was telling Colorado rideshare guy, Sean, I was telling him about a spot where they all come out near an industrial area. And right across the street from it is a closed golf course for the past 3 years. And from the third green, like the third hole's green where it would have been, is now like, you can't even tell it was green, but it's like a mound. And you can sure as hell tee a golf ball up there real well. That would do a lot of damage to the cars coming out on the street I'm talking about. Oh, man. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and I've been seeing the ads about trying to stop Waymo. A lot of those are even going to, very soon, Christopher Taylor, they're going to become political. Like you're going to see those politician mudslinging ads, and in there, they're either they might have a quick mention of pro, but the people con Waymo are going to use those as like major talking points. So it's a huge deal. I'm glad they're having a problem. The DoorDash dots are taking over here in AZ. Yeah, but so I mean, we've always had. I know that for you, it's one thing because you're living right there, you see it, and that's one thing I love about Christopher is he's like boots on the ground, even though he's in Mesa. He knows what's going on up in Phoenix and Tempe and all those areas. So he's got a good read on that. And honestly, why aren't the dots anywhere else? Why? Okay, here's something I have for you. And I know that a lot of people wonder what good came out of the DoorDash roundtable. I mean, we had Marco on. He told us a couple things. He did pull Tony aside. I think the biggest point Marco made was about him being deactivated on a day he didn't even work when he had over 20,000 deliveries with the company. It's deactivated on a day he doesn't even work and hits him up for weeks. And then when he finally kind of stops the correspondence or slows it down, like, I don't care, changes his handle from Nova Dasher to Nova Hustles because of this incident. And then a month or two later, they get back to him and go, sorry about that. You're back on the platform. He still left it at Nova Hustles, respect. But so they invited him. He talked to him about that. Luis, on the other hand, and the other people I just can't speak for. I know many of them. I've met them in person even. I know the kind of things they might ask, but I don't want to say that because I don't know. I wasn't in the room. But Luis laid into him very heavy. And one of the things that Luis had asked, I don't know if you guys remember this, was if they could be shown the dots. And they were actually shown the dots by two of the facilitators at the event and Tony Shu. And it was a little bit of rain that day in San Francisco and where DoorDash is. And they were going to show them a little demonstration. But very bluntly, Tony Shu said, yeah, he goes, they don't go out in this. Again, it wasn't pouring or anything. It was like light rain. He's like, they don't go out in this. They have trouble with hills. He goes, they can't deal with the snow. Under 30 degrees, they don't do well. Over this temperature, they don't do well, but we're working on it. He kind of spilled the beans about this thing is just not working yet. And so, of course, there were a couple questions like, well, is it, was he just trying to go, hey, don't worry, your jobs are safe, but really it's launching tomorrow? I don't think so. From the way I've seen Tony candidly talk, it sounds to me, and the way I know Luis, that he just kind of was like, yeah, this ain't there yet. Because he doesn't, from what I've seen, again, watching him the way I've watched him, with videos and interviews and things in newspapers and stuff, he's a little different than a lot of these CEOs. But again, at the same point, he's very much the same. And one thing I think he's missing is that, what do you call it? The bedside manner that doctors are supposed to have. I don't think he has that when it comes to Dashers. All of us could say a million words about how much we hate Tony. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying he doesn't have a filter that tells him, dude, this is a driver. Don't talk about this or this, or make it sound like their job's secure. He doesn't, I don't think that's going off in his head. He doesn't care. Most CEOs don't. I know that some people want to disagree with that. Of course they care. They have to make their profit. Yes, they have to make their profit. They don't care. And I'm not just talking about drivers. They don't care along the way which of the 19 things that it interfaces with have to get screwed to make the profit. If there's two things that are going to make it the profit, but 17 have to get screwed, he'll double screw them and make a double profit. That's how it works. And it ebbs and flows. So it's not like you can keep screwing over the same 15. You're going to have to pivot it around. And that was an extreme example. I'm just putting it out there. They don't care. Once you're at that level and you're a Fortune 500 company, or, I challenged, I'm going to challenge it again because nobody still has ever done this. So the first person to do this, I don't know what you're going to win. I can't tell you today, but you're going to win something, and it's going to be awesome because I've asked now 4 times. Email me, Steve@ridesharerodeo.com. If if you can name a CEO of a Fortune 5 or of a top performing 500 corporation, name me a CEO who, not for write-off reasons, not for this or that, not the small percentages that the same companies do, but who does things for the better, who does things to benefit communities, who does things that are green friendly, that basically what I'm asking is go find me even a decent human being that's a CEO. Send me the CEO's name and the company they work for. That's all I'm asking. And if after all these weeks of me challenging you guys, you heard or I'm gonna send you something cool. Okay, if 10 of you or 15 of you send in before next week, I'll look at them all and or maybe we'll even do it here. I'll pick the best one. But I've been doing this third, fourth time I did it. No, and you guys email me all the time, but nobody will touch this one. Nobody will go, this guy that runs this company is a good guy. And again, don't give me a non-Fortune 500 that, is a nonprofit and, okay, I get that. And I'm not dissing on it. I'm just saying, Torp says I can see Rodeo in a chat like that. Okay. Dumbass is appropriate. Yeah. Heard a report this morning that the NTSB sent Waymo a letter warning to know what they're going to do about the emergency interference. Yeah, and Christopher Taylor, that's something I really want to bring that up. I would love to talk with, I don't think it would be the guy from the video, even though he is in San Francisco. I would love to talk with the police chief that gave the San Francisco Chronicle the story last year about how they treat Waymos and how they don't even hold back anymore. Because it did conflict with what this guy said, and they're both in San Francisco. But the guy who gave the interview last year is the police chief for the city. He oversees all of them. And he's given orders just to plow through them, this, that, the other. So I would love to get him on the podcast. That might be a doable thing even, And I know he's openly spoke about it since that interview. But I'd like to, he seems like, here's why. He seems like a guy that cares and about what it's doing to his city. I feel like if I approached him the way that I do, and I would, I feel like if he saw that it could help other communities to hear his story, he would come on here. Again, the biggest thing something that almost no other, especially in this space, nobody, but for the audio podcast and all that stuff, one thing I have going that nobody else does is I don't do got you bullshit. And that's something people respect. The rideshare guy has Derek Kashashawi. He has Logan Green on. He has Tony Shu. Those will never be guests on this podcast because, and I don't blame the rideshare guy. I don't blame Sergio, Chris, or Harry, but mainly Harry when he's doing these, he would do them himself because he would have to send over all his questions and get them approved. I couldn't do that. However, like if they knew me well enough, even if Derek Kashashawi was coming down here and they said, we need the questions. And I said, you can't have them. I still wouldn't go after the guy. I would be very fair and legitimate. And if you've been watching, we're at episode 596. If you've been watching for any time, you know that. I've had people on I don't agree with. I've had, there's one name that shall not be named. And I'd been naming it lately or a little ways back. Well, I'm not going to do it anymore. But then there's even other ones too, who, are very pro-union or this or that. And, for gig economy stuff. And I'm not going to have anything to do with that. Waymo needs to be fined. Well, so they are now. They're getting tickets at least. And in California, they can get pulled over for traffic violations too. Gosh, there's so much chat. I'm trying to catch up, guys. And to the audio podcast listeners, you guys, like I said, you got a bunch of bonus drops, but next week I'm back to a pure audio podcast here that will run the spectrum of I don't know, anywhere from 60 to 80 minutes, which is what I've always shot for on this podcast. Tonight we're just going to see how it goes. I'm dying of heat. I am going to have to work. I will work it out in here, but wow, this sucks. The Waymo vans are mapping our freeways now because folks were complaining that Waymo couldn't go on the freeway. Yeah, so well, the Waymo vans are Waymos too. I mean, like, can do Waymo things. The thing is like Christopher's saying, on the vans, they have 8 cameras going down like the back left side, 8 on the back right side, because there's a lot of different ones. So they're mapping potholes, they're doing things for the government, all kinds of stuff. I wonder if Waymo. I think we're all caught up. What's up, Meridian? What's up, anybody? What's up, Shauna? What's up, anybody else? Dashing Viper. What's up, Dashing Viper? What's up, everybody? Okay, so here we are. Oh, okay. Hold on. What am I starting here with? You know what? Let's start off with this dumb little story, because it's a dumb little story. So we know that DoorDash has been buying, and other companies are looking at these, like buying reservation companies. And like, we're talking about like $1.3 billion that they paid for that piece of crap, and it's like table reservations. I understand. I'm part of that last mile understanding, even as it applies to other spaces. This is a conversation I've always had with the rideshare guy, with Harry himself, but also with Chris and Sergio. We get into some of this micro technology, and Harry's always had a thing. He has Curbivore, by the way, but he's always had a thing that's, how it's handled to or from the curb. And I don't know about all that stuff, but here's something that I think is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. The latest gig economy hustle. Restaurant line sitting. That's right. From coast to coast, folks are getting paid to wait in line for hours on end to secure dot cakes for a specific pizza place or other things. And so in this heat, does it surge during the heat? That's what I want to know too. If it hits over 100 degrees, are you paying double? These people are going to die out there. But like, because at least the picture they're showing is a place that just has a line outside, no awnings, and they're standing in the sun. Come on, man. Come on, we got to do better than that. Damn, Lisa. I'm not sure if that's another. What are you doing? Appreciate you though, but so yeah, line sitting is exactly what it sounds like. The act of being paid to wait in a line for someone else's Broadway tickets, sample sale access, churron or table at a popular restaurant, according to a full-time professional New York City line waiter. A professional, guys. I won't say his name. I don't think there's a need. It's in Eater. And again, all these links get put in Discord directly after the live. So you guys can always go follow up with them and comment on them at will. But I think social media makes it bigger than it used to be. Really, you think that a social media platform makes it easier for you to find people to have you sit in a line to get their spot for dinner? Really? You weren't doing so well with just a cardboard sign standing at the exit? Of course it does. But anyway, this is a huge thing. It's to the point where it had, again, a lot of these things, I always notice the same thing. A lot of these things that they start with websites. People had websites doing this. Now there's apps. Want to be a line waiter? Look into it. I think you got to live in a big city. And I think it's going to be a waste of your time. But you can look into it. Now, so let me see if I can get it out of this story. This story was a little longer, but these are all these stories on this topic, on Uber's new autonomous vehicle strategy are all rolled out in the last 18 hours. Most of them coming up in the last 3 hours. So there's one on Wired, July 13th. So let's see. Uber has pushed a policy. You know what, guys? I gotta let the dog out real quick. While I do, that's halftime. I'll be back right on the other side.
Hey there, folks. Looking for those best deals in town? Come on down to Uber Emporium. We got deals and steals here.
And then it froze.
Hey there, folks. Looking for those best deals in town? Come on down to Uber Emporium. We got deals and steals here. Officially forgotten miscellaneous stuff for us, direct from the passenger's back pocket to the seat of a random Uber to you. And we pass the savings on. We got deals and steals. Come on down. Everything's 50% off plus surge. You can pay through the app. Don't worry, you're probably getting charged for it anyways. We do get discounts for Uber Teen out there if you can show that. You have to be. We don't care about unaccompanied minors in this store. Let me tell you. Not that Uber does, anyways. But anyways, let's get to the products here tonight. Today we're featuring candy, boxed and individual. We got this brand new, half-eaten, full box bag of Luden's cough drops right here. Wild cherry flavor, that's the best one. Tastes like candy. I like to rub it on my gums in the morning. Keeps my teeth sharp. Anyways, we'll sell you the whole bag. Or if you just want a couple of pieces, we can do that. We can make that happen too. We got prescription medication over the counter and under the counter, and alongside the counter. What is this? This is just a box, but this is Tylenol PM, folks. So for those long Uber rides that you're gonna probably forget some more stuff and leave in someone else's Uber, don't worry. This could be yours. It could already been yours. Actually, if you forgot it in an Uber, you know, here's your chance to buy it back. But we got Tylenol and Tylenol PM. Let's see here. That's it for medical stuff. Oh, hey, just this forgotten in an Uber Black SUV, but it was only occupied by one person. And not naming any names, but that person happens to be in a lot of legal trouble in the news. If I mention the name, you might be thinking like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they like to party a little too hard. This is a male urinal. So for those really long trips, this comes in handy. Let's see here. Can we get a close up on that? Yeah, boxed, ready to go. Some cleaning required, but this is a good one. Bathroom safety. It's all about bathroom safety. You know, you don't want to get those cleaning fees for just, you know, whatever the price we're going to let this one go for. Again, everything's 50% off plus surge. Discounts. There's discounts all the time. On the other hand, there's also surge all the time, so it kind of balances out. Anyways, come on down to Uber Emporium. We got everything. Come on down. We'll make a deal. Just call us in the app.
Find your nearest one. There's only one per state. It's always in the capital city, and it is never listed on the internet. You just have to go down random alleys and you will see a cardboard sign with a neon that says Uber Emporium. There's one per capital city. So there's 48 in the continental US, unless we've made any new states since last I looked. Or there's not any. I don't know. But I will protect Joe and yeah. Okay, so Uber autonomous. Oh man, where did it go? That's not the story I needed. Shit. Oh, here we go. I guess this one will help. This one will be the quicker one. We will go and Sean, if you're still with us, this is going to be my story on Thursday. So when you get your two, mine is going to be this, and it's not just about making fun of Waymo or videos or anything like that, but my story is going to be this collision course that they're on, Uber and Waymo together, and a lot of other things too, and the role that Uber's trying to take over. So, okay, let's see. Let me make sure this one reads kind of, I'll just start reading it. If it doesn't get to the parts I wanted to get to, we will get to those Thursday, but I'll at least mention them. So let's see what this article says. The other one wasn't pulling up. A proposed bill would allow autonomous vehicles to operate in Washington, D.C. and has become a test case for Uber's broader robotaxi strategy. Instead of simply partnering with and investing in robotaxi developers, Uber is also trying to shape the rules that govern them in an effort that puts it in direct opposition with its business partner, Waymo. So Uber, which opposes the bill, argues the proposed rule would displace for-hire human drivers and hand Waymo a de facto monopoly. This is a little different from the article I read, and we're going at the same. We're going to keep going with this. I'm going to be able to bring in anything I need to here, but it is lobbied instead for a system that would require robotaxis to operate on a ride-hailing network that also uses human drivers. Shocker, right? Uber's saying any of these robotaxi companies, you can't just steal people's jobs while you're testing your products that are shit and don't work and kill people, and killed that bodega cat. Rest in peace, bodega cat. Hit the girl in LA. Who knows what else? I'm sure a lot of hit and runs are Waymos. I mean, late night, drunk people. I'm just saying, Waymo is scumbaggery. But here's Uber saying, hey, listen, unless you have human drivers, you're just going to screw up the whole industry with your cars that kill people. So the only way we can use these is if you put your cars that kill people on with my people that drive people, and we'll just kind of keep the numbers at a fair, standard. What? Okay. So, we have already seen in our jurisdiction how a flawed third-party only regulatory approach can disrupt a city. This is the person who leads U.S. policy and federal affairs for Uber. His name is Javi Carreso. So Carreso argued at the time that robotaxis create congestion by idling or cruising empty, cannot provide the kind of physical assistance to older or disabled adults that human drivers can, and cited data that states one AV displaces roughly 4 drivers. I'm going to call bullshit on that, by the way. Just saying, guys, I'm going to call bullshit on that because, no, because one AV does not, they're not factoring in how many have to be cleaned. They're not factoring in, because again, I think this is a much underrated thing. It's not just me and my 2 bottles of piss. It's everybody. I mean, what about the mom who doesn't even, okay, here's a scenario. Mom doesn't even mean to have it be one, right? She's not looking to do anything first of all, same issues San Francisco faced. And the cleaning, they really tried to bury that story. The cleanings were outrageous how much they had to be done. People doing drugs in them, people having sex in them. Those were the number two most offenses right there. So you're dropping drugs, you're making it somewhere not happy to be if there's a black light around. Mommy, why does it smell like shame in here? But you're doing all of that. You have to follow these routes. You can't get on the damn highway. You pissed off the mayor, the police, the fire department, and you don't know how to work in every single scenario you're giving, like a blackout, like the things that happen, but not every day. In every one, you fail at an all-time low. You are the masters of fucking up. And so I think that those cars having to be cleaned that often, and the service they're going to need and stuff like that, I don't see them picking up 4 riders for every human driver. Human drivers, just if they're doing that stat, the only thing that I could think of that it would be based on is there isn't as many human drivers picking up shitty rides. But hybrid model means that consumers should have the ability to access both. If a consumer is on the app, they should be able to choose. This says the Uber, affairs, U.S. and federal guy. Usually it's no comment from Uber, or we at Uber are really sorry. And it's just one sentence, but he's sure loving this one. I would go a step further, he says. I think it should be part of the regulatory framework for the industry. There should be a requirement for consumers to be able to take an Uber that's driven by a human. Alphabet-owned Waymo contends the bill, which it backs, which allows for the safe deployment of autonomous vehicles while supporting public transit, equitable access, and workers without restricting companies like Uber. First of all, let's start with the first point there. The Alphabet-backed bill, which is Alphabet's Google, guys. And usually, like at this point, when they say Alphabet-owned Waymo, they're actually, and this is another kind of weird thing because usually this used to happen 8 years ago. Now it's happening again. They've taken Google out. Alphabet-owned Waymo. It used to be Alphabet hyphen Google owned Waymo. They were proud of it for a while. So now somehow Google's kind of getting their name out of it. I'm just reading between the lines, but Alphabet-owned Waymo contends the bill, which it backs, which will allow for the safe deployment of autonomous vehicles. Well, where the hell is where are the regulations? What are they? What's the criteria? What is the safety criteria? Who is the third party that will be judging? And potentially, I would even say a fourth party, especially in the beginning. A third and a fourth, independently, both third-party testing. But who are they? Because here's what it is. They don't exist. None of those even exist. The 2 companies will pitch their positions on Monday, today, during a day-long hearing. The bill's passage is not imminent. Many parties told TechCrunch they hope legislation is approved before the end of the year and before Washington, D.C. Mayor Browser leaves office in January. Still, the argument and lobbying efforts surrounding the bill reflect a broader debate that stretches beyond Washington, D.C. So, the proposed AV bill, the bill which was introduced by Councilmember Charles Allen in May, would update the existing Autonomous Vehicle Act of 2012 to allow driverless vehicle testing and commercial driverless operations within the district. Today, companies like Waymo and Zoox can test autonomous vehicles, but only with a human safety driver behind the wheel. The bill would give the district of Department of Transportation, and that's DDOT because it's the district, the authority to issue driverless testing and deployment permits to AV developers that meet certain requirements. What requirements? What criteria? You guys, and I'm not saying it needs to be done, and it should be. If we're talking about how they're going to be able to, it should be done and done. But here's my main thing. Where, you know me, I talk to lawmakers in the district. Okay. That's what my email tonight will be after I get on the air conditioning here. But it's going to be an email to them, not me. And I'm just going to say, where are the years of notes that they're going to base this on? They like a good stumper, and I think that's a good stumper question. Where's all the content that they're going to base on? If the AV developers meet certain requirements. What requirements? You guys don't have any. We're still figuring out the space. You have none. You don't even have them in the states where you have the temporary permits to be there, or, the extreme limitations on what you're able to do, each state being different. We keep seeing more and more problems. I mean, fleet recalls. And not happened once. They are becoming more and more. And I think, we all know this. The more cars you put out there, the more fleet recalls you're going to have. It's ridiculous. But so that meets certain requirements. Such requirements in this is not a law, but this is an idea. Include holding a minimum of $5 million in liability insurance. Okay, is that on the one car? Agreeing to report crash data within 72 hours. All right, you guys, so wait a minute. If in Colorado, we have a little weird thing. You're supposed to pull over and exchange information, and you're not supposed to call the police if you're in an accident. And 911 will be like, have you exchanged your information? Well, then quit bothering our 911 line, and I gotta go. Get out of there. Get his information. There's a website. You just go there and you fill it out with the person. It's kind of weird. But for the most part, crash data, I didn't know that we had, do I, me, right now, a human driver, have 72 hours to get my story together and get into some large language models and have them write me out an excuse that would fix this one situation, and so that I could play that angle? No. My story has to be in right away. 72 hours. This is pretty sad that this is what they're asking for, meaning not even close to this is happening at this point. I would even go as far as to say no reporting is being done. No data is being off or given out, unless they're literally like, dude, give us this. It involved 17 elementary kids dying in a school bus rollover. Yes, you're going to get enough pressure on that one where you're going to have to. But they're just, they're hiding shit. And they're hiding shit from the highest levels of people. It's one thing if they're trying to hide it from us, the drivers, or even the customers, but they're hiding shit that now they think they're behind an algorithmic safety net. And they are. But at the same time that algorithms are being developed, it's amazing what is being done by some companies about learning an algorithm at 10 times the speed it operates at. It sucks to keep going back and forth on this, but at the same time, they don't want that at all, because that starts leading to names. There's a lot going on with Uber right now. They're very concerned about a lot of things that are going on. I mean, number one, the sex cases. We haven't really heard about any of those. We heard about the first two, the first one being that huge one, but both were losses for Uber. Even though the first one cost them $8 million, the second one only cost them like $5,000 because it wasn't sexual assault. They called it battery, but at the same time, they still lost 2 of the 2. So we'll have to keep checking in with those. The bill would also charge robotaxi operators a 15 cent per mile tax, a proposal that robotaxi advocates have argued is too expensive. What? You know how much money you guys waste? Come on. Seriously, if we're talking about money and you're saying 15 cents a mile is too much to test your pieces of crap that hit people and kill them and do all kinds of bad shit, but because it's just too expensive, right? It cuts into the operating cost too much over there at Waymo, huh? Well, let me ask you something then, because I have a question. Okay, so 15 cents a mile per mile is just too much to let each city take or whatever to help things that are transportation related or whatever. But you guys are but in Arizona, a $500,000 fully built Waymo is doing $2 no tip DoorDash deliveries. I'm not an official financial board member at DoorDash, but I'm pretty sure I could sell that elementary bullshit at any one of their meetings. If I was allowed to go, excuse me, why does none of this fucking make any fucking sense? Of course I would reword it. What is this bullshit? But you follow, right? Like, I mean, something's wrong here. We can't get 15 cents. We cannot get 15 cents a mile because we already pay $500,000 for a car to deliver food that it gets in 3 deliveries an hour or per 2 hours. Or let's call it 2 an hour. Let's call it 5. Every 2 hours, it gets 5 $2 no tip orders in. Oh, so it makes $10 every 2 hours of operation. We know that there's the expense, wear and tear and all that on a car. We don't need to get into that. But on the Waymos, are you kidding me? Those things are in the shop every single night when they're charging. There are technicians in those charging stations when they're there, and they're fixing everything and recalibrating everything. These things are fucked up all the time. And they don't work. Proven fact, they don't work. I mean, how do you go to a congressional hearing and tell... How on earth do you go to a congressional hearing and be the CEO of Waymo and tell them that you have remote drivers and the entire 100% of them is in the Philippines? What? Like, I'm glad he did. I don't know that he was expecting that question. But what the hell, dude? Like like they just asked it once too. He didn't pull any of that crap about, like, well, I'm going to, are you talking about this date or this year or this century? Like, he's not trying to do any of that. Like, I'm not going to answer this, Senator. But it's like, do you use remote drivers? Yes, sir. Straight answer. Okay. At least he's doing that. Are 100% of those drivers in the Philippines? Yes, sir. Okay. So now one of them has a license to drive in the United States. Not one of them has, maybe one does that went over there and retired. But my guess is no. None of them have ever been here to drive. They don't know. and they're not licensed in any state to do it. I'm just proposing this at this time because it's not even ready. But listen, when they do transition from safety driver up front to no driver, I used to always wonder what the numbers would need to be. First of all, it shouldn't even happen, but then it needs to happen like Atlanta, only certain routes, and then let us drivers learn that. Oh, that's one of the Waymo routes. I don't get on that. It helps us to avoid that bullshit, but it also takes longer in the Waymo. But make there be one human driver per vehicle in the city that the vehicle is, that has a license. And if the vehicle gets a ticket, that the points go to that driver, because I'm sure the company pays it, right? Waymo would pay it to an employee. But one of the big problems is you can't have a driver tied to it. Well, the other problem is that way more lawmakers than not are saying, yeah, we're going to have to figure that out because we also can't not have a driver tied to it. Love it, because that makes sense, right? So my thing is, make them get tickets like they would in their own car. Make them live here, because I mean, at what is it, 12 points or whatever, you lose your license. I'm just saying, and let the cops write tickets at will. If you're at a remote station, let them allow them to write the ticket by you putting up your profile in the Waymo, and they just, scan a barcode and they write you a ticket. That's it. But so, yeah. The other thing where I was going to say is that, okay, in Sue's neck of the woods, this is what I kind of want. I'll end with tonight, even though, I think I have maybe one quick thing I wanted to bring up. Do I have it though? Okay, yeah. But so, okay, in New Jersey right now, Uber's doing the same damn thing. They're saying that none of the ride shares can be there unless they're on the Uber app. This is going to start happening all over the place. It is amazing. And I hope that it was taken in this episode. It is amazing how much money is wasted in this space. All of the development companies, all of the AVs are the actual innovation and development and deployment teams. They are fully in agreement that they are not there. They know they're putting trash out on the street. They know they're putting trash out. Same at Serve Robotics and other things. They know they're putting trash out. They know this stuff sucks. They want to be the one to pop. For a while, I thought Uber was going to be the one to want to pop, because we had been hearing about like all these Uber, they're working with all these companies, but they're also developing their own auto taxis and robotaxis. Okay, well, are they? Because I think now they've just kind of gone, you know what? Let's just take our cut of every one of the 13 now autonomous companies that we have had ownership and partnership with. And like a couple of them more than once. Yandex in Russia, they've partnered up with them 3 times. They sold off each time at the end of a quarter, and then necessarily didn't go back the next quarter, but the quarter after. So this is all money play too. But they also, during those relationships, I think there were some NDAs and things that now they're getting back into and going, look, we could just have some rights over them for hell a long time. We don't have to do nothing on our own. Just food for thought. Now, why to not, okay, Uber drivers, stick with me here. Why to not stab your passenger at the airport? Actually, that should have just answered its own thing. But this is the last thing I'll say. Last week, a guy was taking another man to Logan Airport, and which is in Boston, and the man driving pulls up to Logan Airport to a drop off, and the passenger asks him, and I mean, they're at the drop off. They're not pulling up to it, whatever. The passenger asks him, is this my terminal? For some reason, guys, that is a trigger word for this dude, because the driver turned around and stabbed him like 9 times. He turned around at the end of a ride that no problem had been had. The guy says, is this my terminal? He turns around right there at the part, I mean, where the police and everybody already are, and just starts stabbing him. Yeah, guys, don't stab each other, man. I mean, flock cameras. Look, I can't go down this on this podcast, but look up flock cameras and then multiply it by 100. I got stories. I heard some crazy shit the other day. So anyway, listen, don't stab your passengers unless they stab you first. And guys, that's been a lot of fun to be with you here this week. We'll see you back here next or on Thursday with Sean. And until then, be safe, be good to each other. Yeah. Later, y'all.
From city streets to country lanes, Rideshare Rodeo eases pains, sharing wisdom bit by bit, turning hustle into wit. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. He's the cowboy of the rides, navigating daily tides. With his guidance we feel free, rolling on eternally. Through each podcast, night and day, Steve lights up the winding way. Gigs feel less like work alone, 'cause his tips have surely shown. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. He's the cowboy of the rides, navigating daily tides. With his guidance we feel free, rolling on eternally. Through each podcast, night and day, Steve lights up the winding way. Gigs feel less like work alone, 'cause his tips have surely shown. 3 years strong, his voice rides high, guiding gig folk far and nigh. Cheers to Steve, let's raise a toast, Rideshare Rodeo coast to coast. Rideshare Rodeo.